Hi everyone, this is Hero from the Birds back with another Shadowlands video, and in this video I'd like to take a look again at Venthyr Monk. We're going to consider both the Brewmaster side and also the Windwalker side. I'm not going to touch Mistweaver at this time, but I'm mostly looking at some of the things I was thinking about testing out from our last video, specifically the interactions between the legendary effect, which is this Fallen Order summoning an additional Tiger or Ox Adept for 24 seconds, and the critical strikes reducing the CD. So Sinister Teachings offers us essentially the ability to move in AoE our major cooldown from a 3-minute CD to around a minute and a half. And there are some advantages to thinking about the usefulness of combinations with this, and I've been tooling around with Serenity a little bit. There's obviously you can do this also with Spiritual Focus or Whirling Dragon Punch, but just for the record, we have seen largely Windwalker monks dealing with two covenants, really. I mean, Night Fate to some degree as well, but mostly Necrolords and Kyrian. And the reason for that is just Bone Dust Brew is so overpoweringly good in AoE. It allows us to pump out an insane amount of damage with our monks, and Whirling Dragon Punch in AoE is not that great, but it doesn't matter because Chi procs are just insane. And we're starting to see with the uncapping, as we move into this new season of 9.1.5, monks are going to become a very desirable commodity in Mythic Plus. And part of the reason for that is Chi is crazy, and it will continue to be crazy. And if you're playing a monk and having fun and you don't know where to start, I'd say actually begin with Necrolord, because Bone Dust Brew is exceptional. And there's still going to be interesting things you have to think about as a Windwalker monk, particularly making sure you're getting your Mark of the Crane stacks up so that when you do your AoE bursts, you have enough targets. Obviously, it's moved from 6 down to 5, but ultimately your playstyle is not going to change that much. You're still going to mark your targets or have your monks come out and mark your targets and then fixate and blow things up. But one of the things I wanted to look at was what tools, if you're a Venthyr monk, what tools are you offered in this new patch, and how can we maybe leverage them to think outside the box, think about things that maybe haven't been considered, because now you can switch back and forth between covenants. Maybe you've always thought that Venthyr was the redhead stepchild and you should never touch it, and to be honest, largely you probably would have been right. But now that we have the chance to touch it and to check it out and to see, hey, what's going on here, we can look at some of the options. So my interest in this class comes back to a couple of synergies, which I have low-level conduits of, unfortunately, but we'll just have to make do. Imbued Reflections, which is going to boost the damage of our Fallen Order monks. Given the changes in 9.15, they're going to Fist of Fury, and they're going to mark targets for Mark of the Crane. They don't get the buff of Chi, but they do mark targets for you, so you don't have to do the marking. And then they also will do Spinning Crane Kick on their own, which, as far as I'm aware, is also not buffed by our Chi buff. They just do their Spinning Crane Kick. So as an example, I've been doing a bit of testing here. What do we have? Let's try this one. So we have here an example. They're doing something like 4% of my damage on a 5 target situation. Obviously, you can see our Spinning Crane Kick is off the charts. And usually, let me see if I have some examples from where I did other monk stuff where I was testing out. Maybe this was it. Nope. I'm trying to find the place where I was testing out Storm, Earth, and Fire. Is it here? Nope. I'll find it. It's worth the wait. Maybe it's way up here. Nope, that's Brewmaster. Yikes. Guys, what happened? Is this it? Nope, still Serenity. I've been doing a lot of testing with Serenity, and there's kind of a reason for that. Oh, here we go. Whew, we made it. So you can see here the Whirling Dragon Punch version, which I don't really recommend in Mythic Plus, I'll be honest. There's a lot of tediousness that goes into playing Monk. I shouldn't say tedious, it's actually kind of fun. Like, trying to min-max the stacks of Mark of the Crane is one of the wonderful things about this class. But what I would say is that this idea of Storm, Earth, and Fire on Venthyr is much more difficult to pull off with good results compared to using something like Serenity. But I just wanted to show you as an example. You could see the Fallen Monk Crane Kick is doing about 3%, 3 to 4% of the damage. Overall, whether or not you use your Storm, Earth, and Fire setup, or you use some other setup like Spiritual Focus and Whirling Dragon Punch, Serenity, it's still, the Fallen Monks are doing more damage in their filler rotation of Spinning Crane Kick, which is fine. It's not over the moon, but it's fine. Anyways, so back to Venthyr stuff. So yeah, we want to see about, can we leverage giving these other monks more damage? Is it relevant? Does it matter? Or is it just bad? And one thing I found over all the extensive testing I've done, and I've done this in Mythic Plus groups and stuff too, is the Fallen Monks, all of their damage combined, whether it's Fists of Fury damage, which is the lion's share of it, their Spinning Crane Kick, their melees, any Blackout Strikes, any Tiger Punches they do, it amounts to about 25% of your damage across an entire encounter. I don't think I have the latest Mythic Plus stuff, but let me just go to one of the more recent things I was doing here. So you can see here, the breakdown is going to look something like this. Their Fist of Fury damage is going to be gigantic, and this is, again, uncapped now, so if you do triple pulls or quad pulls with your groups in Mythic Plus, the Fallen Monk damage is going to go crazy because they just go and they do it. You don't have to manage them, you just press the button, they leap into the pack and blow it up. But also, there you can see here their Spinning Crane Kick is also somewhat relevant. So my point is that you can expect about something like 20% to maybe 25% is a little high of the overall damage that these guys do in any kind of dungeon. So that's an interesting start. And again, just for clarity, I'm in about 230 gear. Just, this is all like Mythic Plus stuff. It's basically garbage. I've been trying to level it up just for reference. So that conduit, really interesting. Is it worthwhile? I don't know. We're testing. Next conduit, and this one's very fascinating for me. So this is the Storm, Earth, Fire conduit, coordinated offensive. It's going to buff your monks that come out, the images, once they fixate. And the Serenity version of it is actually far more interesting in my mind for Venthyr specifically, because it's going to benefit all of your Fallen Order monks. So they get the damage amp from using Serenity because it's just a damage amp. And it's going to benefit you and your Tiger. All of these factors are part of Serenity's bonus. On top of that, it's not just the fixated damage that's done with the normal. So if we change this and we look here, you can see it reads, after your Storm, Earth, Fire spirits fixate, they deal 14% increased damage. So this is just the 2 fixated monks. It doesn't include yourself. Whereas Serenity's bonus is 14% on top of the 20, so in this case 34, and this will go up in the next tier. This is all damage that gets benefited from it. So your Fallen Order monks, you yourself, really good. But there's one other piece, and that's of course our calculated strikes, and this is our go-to Mythic Plus conduit. If you had one to choose from, please choose this one. This is going to make our Spinning Crane Kick, Mark of the Crane stuff go crazy. And this is true whether you play Storm, Earth, Fire or you play Serenity. It doesn't matter. But here's the trick that's interesting. The Fallen Order monks will produce marks of the crane on your targets. So the thing that I would recommend, if you wanted to try out a monk version that has far less anxiety at the opening of a pack, one of the things that a Serenity Venthyr Monk offers you is less craziness to deal with, less tab targeting to have to figure out. Obviously, as Necro, we fire out our Storm, Earth, Fire. They go and tag things. We tag a couple and then fixate and blow everything up. Fine. But you don't even need to build chi on a pull. A lot of times in Mythic Plus, you can save chi from pull to pull. You don't have to worry about that when you have Serenity coming up. You can just immediately go and blow up a pack. And I'm going to show you a version of it that's Slightly brain dead, and my point is not to say you should play brain dead specs. There's way to min-max even this. But the damage is actually quite solid, given that we are just opening by casting Venthyr's Fallen Order, Tiger, Serenity, Fist of Fury. Bang, bang, bang. And then you just spin right after that. They will tag mobs for you. If you happen to get a Dance of the Chi-Ji, we might reset our mastery. But there's a way to play this that is really consistent. And the beauty of it is the Calculated Strikes is going to be done for you in part passively through the Venthyr Monks. So, kind of cool. Anyways, I'm thinking these three together, Calculated Strikes, Imbued Reflections, and obviously Coordinated Offensive, are useful when we're thinking about using Serenity, because we get to line up Fallen Monks with Serenity basically every time in Mythic Plus. We might have to delay. It might be more like 2 minutes in single target, but there's ways to think about doing that. So that takes care of our thought process for Windwalker. I don't think there's anything else I really wanted to mention beyond just showing you what it looks like for a couple pulls. But we can just, I'll just do the simple brain dead version of it right off the bat. Again, you're hoping you get a Chi-Ji proc, and then you'll take a second to give yourself some mastery. I have a lot of mastery on this character, relatively speaking. But otherwise, it's just open with Fallen Order, get the Tiger out, go right into Serenity, and watch the Fists of Fury work. Go crazy. So we'll zoom in a bit here for the guys. Get these guys out, and we just go at it. And they start spinning right away, and then we just start spinning. They'll tag. We go right into our next Fist of Fury as soon as we can. I kind of scuffed that last. I could have got another spin in there. And then we just go into our rotation after that. We just tag and go, make sure we have our markers up. And you can see here, guys, I have 230 gear. We're on 5 dummies here. It's pretty solid damage, and it's pretty brain dead. You can see we're at 47 seconds on our monks. Oops, missed Fist of Fury there. So this is going to be ahead. The Venthyr Monks are going to be ahead of Serenity and ready in time, and then you get to make that choice of when you want to do it. But largely, that's what it looks like. Now, we could adjust this if you're coming into a pack, of course, and you're tagging things as your tank's pulling things together and building up a few stacks of Mark of the Crane. Completely fine. If in the window, I didn't even get a Chi-Ji proc there, but if in the window you get a Chi-Ji proc, just tag something to grab your mastery back. Not a big deal. Really consistent. You can perform this right in a row. It's just 3 CDs, bang, 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 right into Fists of Fury. You're guaranteed to always get 2 Fists of Fury within Serenity. You're guaranteed to get, I think, 4 or 5. Is it 4 or 5? Let me check. I probably spun too many times. I'll do it here once it comes back up, just so you can see exactly how many spinning crane kicks happen within that window. And look at here, the damage profile of these monks, guys. It's basically, 75% of our Fist of Fury damage. And that's pretty remarkable. This is going to scale up. So Fist of Fury is a much better scaler even than Spinning Crane Kick. Look at how many casts of Spinning Crane Kick I had to do to match the Fist of Fury damage. I only cast this 3 times. If I got a Chi-Ji proc, obviously it would have went way up. And if you have targets marked, that's great too. But the problem is, it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of setup to keep going with Mark of the Crane and to time it right and to get everything loaded up. And Serenity makes it pretty straightforward. So let me just do it until we get exactly the number of Spinning Crane Kicks within Serenity's window, and we'll go from there. So get everyone out here. You can see I can just have a very consistent approach. So there's Chi-Ji, so I'll tap once, and then we'll just go Chi-Ji, and then we'll spin 3, and then we got another one in. So what is that, 4 Chi-Jis within the window? I think that was the number. Oh, I told you I was going to stop, so I stopped. All right, so that was 4. So I did that last one afterwards. 2 Fists of Fury, 4 Spinning Crane Kicks. You might be able to get a 5th one in, I guess, and maybe we just ignore Mastery entirely. Just make sure we have tons of verse. Maybe we start building haste now because we have Serenity as a part of it, or maybe we just use an on-use haste trinket, a 1.5 minutes, something like that, to make sure we can spin like a madman. the free cost of it, guys, makes life so much easier. So I'm not advocating you play brain dead stuff. I just mean that here's an option. Here's something to think about. And the damage is quite solid within that window. Having 2 + 4, that's 6 of our strongest abilities, with the potential of it being even crazier within that burst window. And this comes up every minute and a half. Obviously, Zuen, we just funnel him in, and in Mythic Plus you might delay some stuff depending on the pulls. Completely fine. Now, the Brewmaster side is basically the same. So we're looking at how does this help Brewmasters? Well, the main benefit is it's a defensive CD. That's basically it. Imagine in Mythic Plus you have a 1.5 minute, maybe a 1 minute to 1.5 minute CD for your for a defensive conduit. And why do I say defensive? Because the Ox guys are now going to start casting, I think this is apparent in the auras here, they're going to start casting Fallen Brew on you, which is basically a shield. So it's kind of like pressing Fallen Order is like pressing Celestial Brew. It's just a pretty significant shield. You get 5 of them, and what is this saying? 12,000 in my gear, so 5 times 12, 60k shield, something like that. It's basically your HP bar. Kind of reasonable on a 1 minute CD to have a 60k shield just flying in. Not only on that, you obviously get damage, and I'll show you this version of it. You get a little bit of healing from the healing ones, and so on and so forth. If you just want another kind of brain dead, here's a button you can press on CD in packs and know that it's going to provide you a lot of stability in defense. Great choice. So we open with Keg Smash, boom, get the dudes out, start spinning. And you can see they're going to also breathe fire and Keg Smash. So, I mean, for Brewmaster, in 230, 10k, not too bad. I think it gets down to around 6 or 7 consistent damage. Oop, I capped myself on energy. Not a good idea. And we didn't even really cast Nizao there. So I've seen this spike around 14 before. Yeah, anyways, just something to think about. Take a look at the breakdown. You can see Keg Smash and the Fallen Order Keg Smashes are basically going to be equivalent. They all do the same amount of damage. It's the same scaling, just 40%. So where, you know, a lot of damage, guys. A lot of damage. A lot of burst damage from a tank roll. And what you want in big pulls is a lot of burst damage and stability kind of stuck together. So what is this? We have 20 seconds left. How long was that pull? We were out for about 20 seconds. So that was 40 seconds. So not bad. Around a minute and a half. I think it's a little longer in general for Monk. Maybe if we had taken if we're taking Rushing Jade Wind, it brings it down a little bit depending on your crits. But anyways, that's a look at what it looks like on the damage side for Brewmaster. To take a look, the Breath of Fire is not insignificant. Obviously, the Fallen Order is a much higher percentage of our overall damage, given that we get Keg Smash damage, which is about 16%. We get another 3% from the Breath of Fallen. We get another 4% from their kicks. So that's 24%, plus another 2 or 3 or 4% from other damage like their melees. Oh, and there's 10% from their melees here. So probably more like 35 to 40% of your damage in that window is coming from the Venthyr ability, and that's not bad. I mean, considering it's a conduit, it's a useful conduit on the. I don't even think I have Scalding Brew going. Yeah, so that's just imbued reflections, and this is going to scale up. So if you're thinking, hey, maybe now is a time to test out Venthyr Monk, this is just a kind of opening introduction for you to take a look. Here you can see the 5 casts of Fallen Brew that you're going to get on your Brewmaster tank. Maybe I should just load it up here so you can see what it looks like. Get hit by this guy a little bit. Turn around while I'm closing off this video. And yeah, and the purpose here is not to suggest to you, by the way, that you should leave Necro or get away from Kyrian to play the OP new spec, which is Venthyr. Rather, it's to say, guys, time to test. There's all kinds of cool stuff going on. Get into a Mythic Plus, and I'll try to get you guys some footage of this, and see what kinds of abilities we got, what kinds of things you can produce. You can see here they're putting the shields on me, which stack up, by the way. You can have multiple on you at the same time. Yeah, check it out, guys. There's lots of cool things going on, and I think Venthyr Monk has some upside. Yeah, kind of an interesting spec. Let me see, what was the healing? Healing done. I guess some of these would have fallen off, but you can see the Fallen Brew doing some significant throughput on the whole. Just, it's a nice stopgap. If you have a 1 minute CD, 1 minute and 10-second CD in Mythic Plus pulls, you can always just throw that out. These monks will do their job the whole time. They provide a ton of burst damage for a pack. Helps with threat if that's a concern. It just helps to manage different things. I'll do the Windwalker pull one more time. Hopefully we get a Chi-G proc so you can see what it looks like. Oh wait, our Venthyr's down. Yeah, well, what does it look like without the Venthyr monks? That's for another video. I'll try to get some Mythic Plus footage for you guys so you can see what it looks like. As far as Soulbinds are concerned, my one piece of advice, these are all basically garbage relative to some of the other Soulbinds, like you know, Kyrian and Braun, and some of the critical strike stuff. But Theotar is kind of bad in Mythic Plus. Even though Soothing Shade is awesome, it just, you can't trust it. So you go through your whole combo. The whole point of lining everything up into something like Serenity is you want control. And obviously Theotar does not help in that regard. Nadia, it's a bit better because haste is not useless. Every monk outside of rotation and outside of CDs is going to struggle with generating chi and managing energy. So having the haste is fine, and the crit also, there's just a higher chance that you will have one of these two things show up in the middle of your CDs than there is that you will be in the right position to take advantage of Soothing Shade. And Draven, although the 1%, this is kind of like a versatility buff, it's not that bad actually. I just don't think it outweighs the value that you might get out of Nadia. So currently I think probably best to use Nadia for Windwalker in a Mythic Plus setting, but really you're not getting a lot of value out of these three. I don't think it's worth moving away from the potency conduits, which seem to me to be the strongest thing going for it. We haven't even talked about Inner Fury as a single target option instead of calculated strikes, but it's there as well, and it's going to buff our Venthyr monks as well. It'll be a significant portion of their damage amp. Even Zuin's Bond is kind of interesting because we can think about lining everything up a little more often if we delay by about 20 seconds. Anyways, I think this is kind of fun to test out. I know most people will think this is a bit of a meme, but now's the time for testing since you can swap back and forth. And really, guys, I find the consistency is really fun. You can just get in there, drop your stuff, and be gone. You don't have to worry about managing chi going back and forth. You just plow the damage. Right as your Serenity is going down, keep going, get another one in. And I just chopped my Chi-G, which is completely embarrassing. I was too excited. But you can see here the damage on a, what are we at, 230? On a 230 monk, guys, with bursts up to 30k on 5 targets over a minute. I mean, it's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not that bad. What if you had haste in here instead of, I mean, this, I think this trigger's probably the best at the moment, just for the crit, but like, what if some people are in like 250 and they're doing quad pulls with Chi-G and pulling, you know, 60, 75k. I'd love to see a Venthyr Monk walk in, and I'll see if I can get you guys some testing on some of these pulls and just blast. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for rambling on. That's Brewmaster and Windwalker from a Venthyr perspective. Just some thoughts to throw your way. We will catch you guys next time.